This is an honor and a pleasure of mine to be here with Atinna Smith. This is Savanzet Andrico, visionary filmmaker for Tech in Black and White docu-series around diversity and inclusion. How you doing, Atinna?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
This interview means a lot to me to catch up with you, and we have a little fireside chat, sit back, and so this is a conversational project, man. We just like to have conversations with leaders. And being a black woman, what led you to Seattle from Atlanta to work with Amazon?
Wow, that's an interesting question. It was a long journey, something that I actually didn't plan. I was working for an advertising company in Atlanta and wasn't looking for an opportunity. However, a recruiter from Amazon found me on LinkedIn, reached out, and of course, it's Amazon. Who doesn't want to hear from a recruiter from Amazon, right? So I took the call, and 3 months later, landed myself in Seattle.
As a black woman leader, what does diversity, inclusion, and equity mean to you for a young person who doesn't know what their role is?
So for me, DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusion, is all about access. It's about access to resources, access to your potential, access to leaders like myself who can help mentor and coach, our youth of today, because I don't feel like there's enough of us around to kind of guide the youth, today's youth, into what our future is going to look like in this space. And so I consider myself to be one of those people, and I have intentionally spent a lot of time over the last few years just really trying to be that person who is accessible, someone who is seen as available, someone who's relatable, and someone they can connect with in many ways.
That's my solution for diversity and inclusion, is being relatable and being someone who can connect the dots. That's something that I work towards. I met you at Afrotech, and I was really excited to be introduced to Ben. And Ben has did a lot of great things in the community and for the culture. Why is it so important for organizations to do that work that you're doing?
So just for the audience, my role in Ben is as the Director of Recruitment for the Black Employee Network in Seattle, Ben for short. And for me, it's really important for companies like Amazon to recognize that there is a need within those companies to create community. So having affinity groups, or ERGs as some companies call them, gives employees an opportunity to connect with people who are like-minded or like them and have a sense of belonging. So I joined Amazon, didn't have a clue what Ben was, who Ben was, what they did. And I just happened to stumble upon the group one day, just doing some research about the black population in Seattle, which was a lot different from my experience in Atlanta. So when I relocated to Seattle, I did have a little bit of a struggle trying to find people like me, and trying to build that same type of community that I had at home. So then I found Ben, and I joined Ben as a volunteer the first year, and the second year I became a board member, and now I'm the Director of Recruitment for Seattle. So that just goes to show, that you can do whatever it is you want to do, and not necessarily be looking, but the opportunity to participate and to become a leader in these resource groups is there for people like us.
It's so important as a leader and as a black woman. What are some of the challenges that you face?
As a black woman and as a leader, I think it has been seen as a double negative. It is difficult just being black, but to be a black woman in the corporate space comes with its own set of challenges, and it can be burdensome. You have to be very strong-minded, strong-willed, and willing to do what it takes to succeed, just to persevere in this space. So for me, just being passionate. For me, I have something that I call my personal 3 Ps. It's being passionate about people, being purposeful about my work, and really creating authentic programming. So programming, people, and purpose. All of those three things together for me are what make me who I am and have allowed me or helped me to succeed in this space.
I want to piggyback on just these two cultural differences, because we have the docu-series Atlanta Black Tech Mecca, and we thinking that Atlanta has this real strong culture. What's the difference between Atlanta versus Seattle?
I think there's a big difference. I haven't lived in Seattle as long as Atlanta, but I do find it's easier to get that, what I mentioned earlier, access. So access to people like us. There are events, there are opportunities, there's lots of networking. Atlanta is known for that. There are places that you can gather and be with like-minded community. And in Seattle, it exists as well. It's just not as well known. So to really find your fit or find groups that you can connect with, you got to do some research.
Okay.
And that's part of what I think the Black Employee Network offers, is that we provide a lot of that access, that information, where to go when you join a company like Amazon. As a minority, it's difficult, even for a Black woman to find a hairdresser in Seattle. It takes some time.
Yeah.
It takes some time. I went through my share, and I'm still not happy necessarily with the options that are available. But I think the more of us that speak up about it and talk about what we need, the more reactive the community will be and help us get those resources. And so that's something that we try to do, is just, share those resources with each other and people who are new to the company, new to the city, period.
Yeah, just to build your own tribe.
Yeah.
I think you really, you're really rooted in what your belief is. And where did that come from? In a lot of my interviews, I try to figure out what was those influences in your upbringing, and who was that person that was influencing your upbringing to center you on the person that you are today.
Wow, so this is going to make me a little emotional, but it was always my mom. I come from a single parent family. My mom and dad divorced when I was really young, and my mom was my center. She was everything to me. We were very close, and she was an educator. So she was very strong-willed, strong-minded, very strict and disciplined, but at the same time, it was that tough love. Yeah. It was that love that you knew that no matter what you did wrong, at the end of the day, you could come home, and she's going to tell you about yourself, but she's also going to do it in a loving way. And that foundation of just having her really propelled me into being the person that I am, because of that regimented, strict routine, discipline, that type of environment that I lived in. It's shaped who I am today. It has made me a much stronger individual. And now that she's gone, I still take a lot of what I learned from her and apply it to my life every single day. And I still sometimes wish I could just pick up the phone and call her and get her advice. Before she passed, we ended up being even closer than mother-daughter. We were more like sisters. And so that sisterhood and that community is something that I think is really important for Black women, Black children in general, just to have that type of relationship with your parents that will help mold you.
Sorry to hear about losing mom. I think that a lot of young women who may not have mentors or direct, you have to kind of look at the examples that your parents use, whether good or bad. And what would you tell your younger self, like your younger self, from the wisdom that you have now?
I would tell my younger self that she is not as grown as she thinks she is.
Okay.
Because my mother was so strong-willed and she was an educator, I thought I knew everything that I needed to know when I went out into the world. So honestly, I left home at 17 and I thought I was ready, and I wasn't ready. As educated as I thought I was, as smart as I was, I wasn't ready for the world. And I probably lost about 5 years of progress due to making mistakes. But everybody does.
Yeah.
So I would go back and tell myself, if I could, girl, you don't know as much as you think you should or think you do. And you should probably just listen to what your mom is trying to tell you right now.
That creates this thing. I feel like, when we have our lessons that we learn when we're younger, we really have the opportunity to teach from those lessons. And what would you say has been one of the most important lessons that is now part of your philosophy for life?
Oh boy. I would say for me personally, I use it every day, but I also break my own rules.
Okay.
It's never put all your eggs in one basket. It's something that my mom used to say all the time. So if you make a decision that you cannot reverse, it's something that we talk about at Amazon. It's a one-way versus a two-way door decision. So you have to give yourself options and the ability to fail. So if you have only one option and you fail at that, then you have to start all over, right? So if you have multiple eggs and multiple baskets, if something drops over here, that egg breaks, you can jump over to the next basket and you're cooking again. So that's my philosophy, is never put all your eggs in one basket.
So we have this, this is new, the COVID restrictions of having, this plastic wall between us. Like, how has COVID, affected you, just working? Like, how has it affected your, how has it affected you? Like, are you still with all of the meetings and you doing a lot of work from home? Like, what are some of the positives of where things are for you?
Well, one of the positives, obviously, is working from home. There's no commute.
No commute.
Most major cities, you have to deal with that. Atlanta is no different. Seattle is no different. LA is no different. So one thing that I do enjoy about COVID is not having to fight traffic. It extends my day. It would take an hour each way at least when I moved to Seattle to get to the office every day. So now I can extend my day or coast into it and not have to worry about being frustrated by the time I get to the office, because my commute is literally from my bedroom to my home office, and it's super short.
Yeah.
And it gives me more time in the morning to really wake up. Honestly, I'm not a morning person at all. So I get to sleep a little bit longer and I get to coast into my day. So that's one of the most positive things, I think.
Well, I appreciate you, meeting you in Afrotech. I was seeing, you were doing a lot of the behind the scenes work, and I feel like you're a producer. I'm working with you and you're producing these events. You wear numerous hats. Like, how do you balance wearing numerous hats as a leader?
To be quite honest, I'm not so great at it.
Okay.
I think I definitely bite off more than I can chew. I think that because I am so committed and so passionate about the work, that I say yes way more than I probably should.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I feel like I do carefully select what I do. It's just that a lot of those opportunities come to me at the same time.
Okay.
So for me, what I do is I work really, 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 really hard, and then I stop.
Okay.
I take a break.
Okay.
I have to have my me time. So I might just at the drop of a dime decide that I'm going somewhere and I'm gone for a week. I take that week. It's my me time. It's for
me
me.
time.
And I totally shut down.
Yeah.
But leading up to that, I may have worked 6 months straight.
Wow.
So for me, it's more about just making sure at some point when your body and your mind tells you that you need to take a break, for you to take it.
So we talked about board of directors and having mentors. What are some of the things that you've learned from the people that you're surrounded by? You're surrounded by some great leaders and some great people. Could you share some of that insight that you picked up from your board of directors?
Yes. Unfortunately, some of my board of directors are no longer with me, but I still rely on some of the teachings and the guidance that I got from them, growing up. For me right now, my personal board of directors consists of my immediate family, my siblings, as well as some people that have been mentors to me for a very long time. So I'm a member of a couple of nonprofit organizations, but the one that is closest to my heart is called the Women of Distinction. And it is based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And the founder has structured the organization such that we all are considered sisters. And we literally call ourselves sisters. When we talk on the phone, when we see each other, when we engage with each other, it's about sisterhood. And so that sisterhood has become my personal board of directors. They're an organization, but they also really, really care about me. And they're constantly communicating. Even though I'm in Seattle and they're still in Atlanta, they constantly reach out, check on me, texts and emails, even send things in the mail. Christmas cards, COVID masks, whatever it is, just to show me that they still care about me. And I'm still in the sisterhood, even though it's from a distance. So they are my personal board of directors now, because they are the closest family that I have from a distance.
So on closing, what are you excited about? It's 2021, it's the beginning of the year. You have a lot of events lined up. Like, what are you excited about right now?
Wow, I'm excited about opportunity. I think that obviously the past year, the racial trauma, all of the things that the country has been experiencing in terms of the impact of COVID, job loss, a new election, so many things have impacted us personally as a community and as a culture. But I see a light at the end of the tunnel. I see that things are now looking up at least. I hope that COVID quickly declines, that we are able to somehow this year, before it's over, get back to normal life, and come out of this climate better than a year ago, when we started. So financially, I see opportunity. I see companies, major companies, really making public statements about their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and their goals, and being very committed to that. So it's something that I'm really excited about. I really want to see the companies that state that they are going to be more aggressive about hiring Black talent or minorities in general own up to those commitments. And I feel that there are a lot that are doing that right now. And I just want to see everybody, stay committed.
I do feel like for Black women, style is important, and for Black men, style is important. So how would you define your personal style as a leader and as a woman in corporate America?
Wow, it's interesting. So I love casual comfort.
Okay.
So I like to be somewhat dressed up, but at the same time, I have my own sense of identity. And I'm also, for me, I'm a mood dresser. I can't plan out a day before what I'm going to wear tomorrow. I wake up and decide. So I have a full closet, 2 actually, full of clothes. So if I change my mind, I'll change my clothes. And it depends on my mood. So my mood changes, my outfit might change. Done that a few times today. So
Well, thank you. I mean, Atinna, we just want to thank you just from me and Nehemiah, and we just excited to be able to have an opportunity to just grow, on a production side and just on a storytelling side. Inclusive storytelling is my focus. Diversity and inclusion as a study, because for me, I feel like the community that I come from, I don't think a lot of people really actually know what it means. And I just want to thank you for just being open, giving us an opportunity to sit down with you. Just keep doing what you're doing, keep kind of carrying that torch of being that Black woman leader that's not afraid to kind of cross over into production and marketing and events and recruiting and getting out in the community and investing in the community. All of the things that you're doing, it matters. So continue to do what you're doing. We support you, we thank you, and we look forward to seeing you do great things.
thank you. I appreciate you having me today.
You're welcome.